Guys, this is carnitas. This is how to do pork the right way, where we braise it slowly in its own fat. And then what do you do with it? You make tacos with it, of course. Delicious pork carnitas tacos. Well, howdy folks. Welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart Trotter, your host. Today we're going to be preparing some wonderful, delicious food. And what you're watching here, this is one of my tutorials. So if you're looking for all of the answers and all of the details about this recipe, you found the right video. If you just need the recipe, watch the previous episode. That's what that is. And thank you very much for watching. Now, let's get into this. Wow, didn't that look delicious? Guys, what we're going to be making today is a very, very special dish. This is a south of the border dish. It's a Mexican dish. It's something that is, when it's prepared the proper way, the flavors you get from this, it's just incredible. So what I want to do today is I want to teach you how to make a wonderful dish called carnitas. Now carnitas is, well, what that actually means is little bites, okay? We're going to be taking some pork and we're going to cook it. We're going to cook it in a very special way. And you know, when it comes to carnitas, it's less about what's being cooked and more about what the method of preparation actually. So like you can do beef that's carnitas, you could do let's say chicken or goose that's carnitas. You could even do fish that's carnitas. It's really more about preparation, and that's when we cook at a very slow pace, at a very low heat. That's when we cook a meat in the animal's own fat, and it produces the most remarkable flavors. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to slow braise some meat, and then we're going to finish it off at higher temperature to crisp it up, and we're going to make some tacos. Probably the best tacos that you'll ever get a chance to have. It's delicious. So guys, let's not waste any time. Let's get in the kitchen, take a quick look at the ingredients, and get started making carnitas. I can't wait for this. Guys, we're in here with these fabulous ingredients. I've got the pork. I've got really more pork than I need, okay? But I'm going to cut up some of it for other things. I've got two reasonably large sized pork loins here. It's a good cut of meat. It's essentially the equivalent of, well, if that were off of a cow, it would be the ribeye, okay? So that's what this is on the pig. That's the ribeye of the pig. And it's a very good cut of meat. It's very lean, except for the outside band of fat on it, and it has a very good flavor. All right, so I chose that also because I just had them. Now, we're going to also be using some lard. This is actual real lard, and this is what you need to get, guys. Not something else. Don't cook this in oil. Do not cook this in shortening. Cook it in its own fat. It's very important, and it does affect the overall flavor, texture, and design of this dish. It's all based on that one thing. It's slow cooking in lard, guys. It's important. Now, other flavors that are very common that you'll see a lot in a lot of recipes are going to be some bay leaf. Not using it in this one. A lot of times you'll see evaporated milk used, okay? Not using it in this one. What we are using is an orange, some lemons, some stick cinnamon. Oh God, that's good. And guys, also we have these beautiful chilaca chilies, long, thin and green chilies. This, if you can get this in your markets, go ahead and get it. It's fabulous for this. It has a rich, full-bodied flavor. If you can't find this, use a poblano or use whatever chilies you can find. You know, banana peppers will work, Anaheim chilies, New Mexico chilies, California chilies. Go ahead and get what you want and put in there. Chilies are really good when it comes to carnitas. And guys, this is slow cooking in the animal's fat, and the flavors are fantastic. Now let's get into cutting this up. I'm going to prepare the meat the right way. It won't take much cutting on these ingredients. We're just going to open up the lemons and the orange and throw them down in the pot, same way with the chili pods, and the cinnamon goes in there as is. All right, So let's get on with fixing our meat to go in our pot. Folks, you have to get that lard into your pot. Now I have chosen an 8-quart pot to do this in. What I'm going to do is just take that lard and scoop it up and put it right down in there. The stuff when it is at room temperature is fairly stiff. More so, I think, than shortening is. But it has very similar qualities to shortening. Now the nice thing about lard, people are worried about their health these days. And of course, they wonder about certain ingredients. Get this, lard has 0 trans fats, okay? So it's a really cool way to cook. And it has some really neat properties when it comes to certain foods. There we go, got all that out. Now I've got to get this over some heat, get it to melt. Now guys, what we have here is some pork loins, and if you'll notice on one side it's just meat, on the other you see this fat. But underneath that fat, as you can see on this one, there's this very distinct stringy looking tissue. Okay, that stringy tissue is what they call silver skin. See how it has sort of a silver sheen to it? It's the reason they call it that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my knife here. We're going to cut that off. This is how to get all that off of there. Now on some meats you can actually, on your silver skin, you can just tear that off by hand. But I have noticed that when I try to do that with a pork loin, it usually doesn't like me for it. So what I'll do is I'll take my knife and I'll turn that blade up just gently, just like so, to run it against the silver skin instead of against the meat. And that way I get the silver skin, and if I do get any meat, it's a very small amount, just like you see here, okay? Nice way to remove that. You just got to be a little bit patient with it. So there, I have that. I'll turn my knife up just slightly. Again, here. Now, you got to be gentle when making these cuts. So I'm going to start by cutting back this way. And you always want to cut away from you, never this way. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this run by getting my knife under it and cutting towards that end, just like that. And I want to turn my meat. I want to take this, and again, turning my blade just slightly upwards towards the connective tissue, I can remove it. Now pulling it can sometimes do the trick, but again, you're going to run that risk of it either separating like this, or you run the risk of, there we go, let me get that fat. You run the risk of tearing that meat. And so it's sort of a catch-22 thing on this one. Now, this used to be something that the grocery store butchers at one time would take care of for you. Of course, they're not really butchers anymore. They simply repackage meats that have already been done up by the packing houses. Sometimes they take care of a little more than that. They do some minor cutting down from certain primordial cuts, or primal cuts, excuse me. Primal cuts. Almost got it. Now on some of these you're going to have what looks like white meat and dark meat, and that connective tissue will run right up under that dark meat. You can only remove it up to where it kind of connects to it, because if you try to get it out from there, you're just going to separate those two muscles is all. So you might as well cut your losses where you have to. Now little bits like this aren't really going to affect anything, and it's fine to leave that on there. So there you have it, guys. It's not pretty, but that is how you can remove that silver skin. You just got to take the time to knife it off of there, and don't worry about what tiny little bits of meat may have been attached to it when you do so. It's inconsequential at the end of the day. Now guys, when we are cutting up this meat for carnitas, we want to make some fairly substantial pieces. I can make cross cuts like this and just have a huge chunk. I could narrow this down a little bit and have smaller pieces, maybe cut about like this, but I'll have longer grain because the grain on this runs this way. Now if you want your tacos to have long stringy grain meat in it, that's cool. You can do it that way. On mine, I want them to have about pieces of meat, strings of meat about 1.5 inches long. So this is 1 inch, that's about 1.5 inches. If I wanted, I could go as much as 2 inches. We could do something like that. See there? Now, these little bites of meat, when it's all said and done, they are going to shrink quite a bit, but also they're going to have this delicate, delicious flavor. You can see that dark and the light meat together on that. And a lovely cut. All right, so now we have some of our meat there for that. I'm going to do the same thing on this piece, but I'm going to start from this other end because, like I said, I may use some of this to make some nice pork chops for myself. There's one. We just want all of these to be roughly the same size so that they cook at the same pace, okay? Now, the reason you're seeing two different colors here, you have two different muscles, all right? And on this one, it's just some of your, that loin is dark, some of it's light, and they sit right next to each other, okay? Look at this, guys. Our lard is almost all melted. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful liquid down there? So when I start putting my other ingredients in here to flavor that and then also fill it up with our pork, oh, now something you want to do is go ahead and get your oven set for 250 degrees. You don't want it any hotter than 250, guys. This is slow cooking, okay? It is about taking your time and allowing flavors to develop in a very slow and controlled way, and that's the only way to get that flavor is to slow cook it, okay? So you have to give this time. Okay, guys, now it's time for us to take care of our flavorants for our wonderful carnitas. First of all, we're not going to do a lot of work on this. All we have to do is just kind of break this down into smaller pieces, okay? God, it smells so good. Now you can squeeze these into the braising liquid, or you can just throw them in as you cut them. Okay. So you've seen I've cut everything so I can squeeze it or not. Take your pick. It depends on how much of that citrusy flavor you want and how much of the essential oils you want and what's more important to you. The chilacas, we're going to take, split them open lengthwise. That's all we've got to do. Isn't that simple? Here we go, guys. Get all of this down in here. Now, you know the neat thing about braising is you can add items like this into your braising liquid to flavor it. Watch this. I'm going to put a squeeze of that orange in there and just drop the other two in. And then again, on that lemon, a little bit of a squeeze of lemon in there. We're going to drop the rest in there. All right, now we've got all of this down in here. I'm going to set my spoon aside for a minute. Get my meat right down in this. Oh, isn't that beautiful, guys? Look at that. Will it hold more? Oh, I think it will. Looky there. All right. So what I've got in this pot is right about 5 pounds of that pork. And that's a perfect amount because you see how we have just little tips of the meat sticking out? When you're going to braise, that's exactly what you're looking for, that exact thing right there. Let's take a close look down in there. Now, guys, you can see that nice close-up. The meat, edges and corners, just starting to protrude, okay? And that's just the perfect amount. And that way we are cooking in the liquid itself. We're not going to bring this liquid up to a super high heat. We've just got to take it to 250 degrees and hold it there until all of this meat turns fork tender. Oh, I can't wait for that. So, each piece of meat is going to take a different length of time to cook. So you're just going to have to learn to be patient when it comes to stuff like this. I'm going to put this down in the oven at 250 and walk away from it. Stir it maybe every hour and a half or so. And the rest of the time, just leave it alone. All right, guys, let's get this in our oven. All right, there it is, guys, down in that oven. That's 250 degrees. And just a lot of patience from you. Cover the pot, put it in there at 250, and go do other things. Now, there's something that you might want to consider. What are you going to have with this? Me, I'm looking forward to some Carnitas tacos later on today. So I'm going to be needing, of course, tortillas. Choose your pick. You can go corn or flour. Then also you might want to consider maybe a salsa verde. That's a green sauce, guys. A real good one, maybe made with some tomatillos, some chili peppers, and garlic, and little onion, that kind of stuff. Possibly even some avocado. Oh yeah. Sliced avocado would be good with it. Sliced onions, all kinds of things. It's a wonderful way to do your tacos that are Carnitas tacos. Also, pico de gallo. Why not? Guys, in the meantime, you've got plenty of time because it's going to take a while to cook. It's going to be hours. Be patient. Guys, when our meat has finished braising and it is so tender that it will break apart easily, well, like this piece did, I put a fork in it and it's simply broken in half. Here's the other half. Whoop. See there, it's breaking apart. Okay, this is when it's ready to come out. This is when you want to go ahead and start crisping it off. So we get it on another pan so we can do just that. Guys, look at that. Oh, I've already tasted it. It's delicious. This is the point where we actually salt our meat, okay? Not when we're braising it, but now. Yeah, that's right. And now we're going to put this down in the oven, 350 degrees. Never put this at a temperature higher than 370. That's the smoking temperature of lard, guys. We want to keep it under that. So we're going to crisp this up and brown it at 350 degrees until it's beautiful and golden brown on the outside. Guys, let's get that down in the oven. That oven is at 350 degrees. Guys, there's our meat. It's out of the oven. It's been in there for about 20 minutes at 350 and it crisped up and browned beautifully. Now if you want to add a little more brown to that, you go right ahead and do so. Well, that's up to you. It's your choice. But at this point, it's fully cooked. They're falling apart. They were braising for 6 hours and now they've been crisped for 20 minutes in a hot oven. It's ready for Carnitas tacos. Now guys, after that meat has come out of the oven, let's take that piece right out of the middle, beautiful piece, and I want some of that very first one that I prepared. Stuck a little bit, but not bad. I'm just going to take this. Now look at this. You want to know what breaks down easy? Is that easy enough for you? We call that well cooked, well braised. Look at that, guys. Now I can take this meat that I very easily broke apart. Ooh, first of all, I can taste it. There we have it, guys. That's my taco meat. My goodness, that is delicious. Okay, guys, now it's time for us to make our tacos. Let's go ahead and take some of that salsa verde I made. Oh yeah, nothing like a little homemade salsa verde. It doesn't take a lot of that, okay? Just a thin streak of it. It's potent. All right. Now I want some of my carnitas. Oh yes. Let's dress that taco up. A taco should have plenty of carnitas on it, right? Now guys, I like some pico de gallo on mine. So I'm going to line it up on there. Isn't that beautiful? And I always like a little bit of extra cilantro on mine. Oh yes. What a delicious, wonderful, exciting treat. There we go, guys. That is truly beautiful. Now guys, on your total quantities of ingredients, what you're going to want here is we've started out with our bucket of lard, and that is 4 pounds of lard. I have 3 chilaca chilies that I used, 1 orange, 2 lemons, 3 sticks of cinnamon. And as far as the meat, you can do anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds of pork on this dish. It just depends on the kind of pot or dish that you're going to be cooking it up in as to whether you have enough space. So guys, this is a wonderful way of cooking. give it a shot. Guys, this is fantastic. We got some beautiful pork carnitas tacos. Fabulous tasting. Now, the only thing that's better than making pork carnitas tacos is the joy that you get after the fact, the eating. Mmm. 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 This rich, heavenly, savory flavor. Delicious. This just takes pork from ordinary to spectacular. It's really good, guys. Mm. Mm. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. I get to go and enjoy these things. And I get to share with my neighbors. That's the best part. Good food, good friends, good times. Guys, thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today, for watching this episode. If you would, please click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Also, click the like button. Helps me a lot in the rankings, okay, and how Google search finds me. Drop something down there in the messages, okay? A comment, a question, a request, all right? You can put some hate mail down there if you want. I don't mind. It's all good. Guys, thank you very much again for watching. Please share my videos, and one last thing, just have a good day. Cheers, folks. Well, there it is, guys. Texas Cooking Today tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this show and for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please go to my channel. Check out what I have there. There's some wonderful recipes and some great tutorials waiting for you to try. Again, thank you very much.